Wisdom TV, WTV
presents.
So, is that the reason you asked her to move out of your house? You children of nowadays.
I am beginning to think I shouldn't have gotten married so soon.
Why do you think so?
Maybe I am too young. Don't you think so?
That is not true. But if you come to think of it, age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Marriage is not about age. It's about finding the right person.
I am lucky in having found the perfect partner to spend my life with. But the fact remains that I had to adjust my expectations to see her as perfect.
Probably she wasn't the right person for me.
That is not what I am trying to say. The truth remains that no one comes perfect. But you have to look for the one you can manage to make your own perfection. Trust me. You see, the first time I got married, I did it for love. But the second time, I married because of money. And the third time was for companionship. All this while I was still under 30 years old. That doesn't make me an expert on the subject anyway. Because the secret of a happy marriage remains a secret. But one thing is for sure. It is not lack of love, but lack of friendship that makes an unhappy marriage.
Friendship?
Yes, friendship. But I also need you to know that a good husband definitely makes a good wife.
So what do I do now?
You need to look for ways to make your marriage work. You have to put your marriage back on track. It's your responsibility.
But she's driving me crazy.
You definitely need to work on yourself too.
How do I do that?
When you are dealing with problems in your marriage, it can sometimes feel like you are all alone. Fortunately, there are many ways you can communicate with your spouse and come up with solutions to solve your problems together. You see, open communication is a key. Actually, it is the key to any healthy relationship. You and your partner need to talk about any struggles you are going through.
Communication?
Yes. When you let things go or assume they will become better on their own, they tend to get worse, which can lead to resentment over time. When you notice issues cropping up, sit your spouse down and talk with them about it immediately. You can bring up issues in the relationship by saying something like, "Hey honey, could we sit down and talk later this evening? I have a few things I would like to chat with you about, just to make sure we are on the same page." And to avoid putting your spouse on the defensive, use I sentiments or statements. For instance, instead of saying "you always come home late," you might as well say, "When you stay out late without telling me where you are going, I feel worried." And it's also important that you should focus on one issue at a time. Bringing up all your problems at once can feel overwhelming. When you sit down with your partner to chat about what you are struggling with, try to pick one thing to talk about at a time. That way, you can dig deep into a specific issue instead of generalizing about a ton of things at once. For example, if you want to talk about your intimacy or lack of it, but also about your stress levels, pick one and save the other for a different time. Listen closely and try not to interrupt. Your partner probably has an whole view of what is going on in your marriage. Do your best to see things from her own perspective and don't dismiss how she is feeling right away. If you try your best to be understanding, you two can have a better, more productive conversation. Show that you are listening to her by asking follow-up questions like, "Interesting, can you tell me more?" Or, "I am not sure I understand. Could you explain that again?" Come up with solutions together. The goal is to reach a decision that benefits both of you. Even if it's an issue that only one of you is having, you should try to reach a win-win solution sometimes. You see, something that makes you both feel like you are improving your relationship and going closer together. That is the idea. Although I do understand that this may take a little while and you might have to talk multiple times with your spouse, but in the end, it will be worth it. Are you with me?
Yes, sir. I am listening to you, sir. 100%.
Good. And you should have the mind frame and you should be ready to accept the things that you can't change about your spouse. There may be recurring issues that crop up over time. This can sound like a red flag, but in reality, it is normal for most long-term relationships. You and your partner will probably disagree about similar things a lot, and that is okay. Trust me, it is very, very okay. The important thing is that you stay respectful and kind when addressing these disagreements, whether it's the first time or the 50th time. For example, maybe you like to clean up the house at the end of each day, while your partner prefers to do a big cleanup at the end of the week. You two might discuss this a lot over your relationship, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a difference in preferences. Realistically, we are bound to hurt each other's feelings every now and then, but we should learn and practice forgiveness. You see, forgive your partner if you can. Hanging on to anger and resentment isn't great for your marriage. If you feel hurt or mad at your partner for one thing, one reason or the other, you should work on forgiving her first. Make sure you have fully talked through the issue and try to get a sincere apology from your partner, if they are willing, of course. Then you can choose whether or not you can forgive your spouse to keep the relationship moving forward. But remember, forgiveness is not telling your partner that our actions are okay. It's allowing yourself to move on instead of hanging on to hold feeling. Express your appreciation for your partner whenever you can. Give her a hug when you get home. Pick something up for her, when you are in the store. Or send her messages every now and then when you're at work. These small acts of love might not seem like much, but they can remind you why you fell in love with her in the first place. It helps a lot for you to know your partner's love language. For instance, if her love language is a physical touch, then she might appreciate a shoulder rub or a massage. Or if her love language is an act of service, then you might do some chores around the house. Make romance part of your daily life. Act like you are dating your spouse again to bring this spark back. When you get overwhelmed with work, kids, and responsibilities, it is quite easy to let romance fall by the wayside. But you still need to try to be romantic towards your partner, so you both remember what it felt like when you first started dating. Like, you could have breakfast in bed together, surprise your partner with small gifts, plan a weekend getaway trip, give your partner compliments, have a candlelight dinner at home. Remind yourself of your partner's positive qualities. It can be easy to focus on the negatives in your relationship when they have so good things about her as well. Instead, try to come up with a few positive things that your partner does. Whatever it is, no matter how small, keep those things in mind as you examine your marriage and your relationship. Work on yourself too. Examine your whole contributions to any issues in the relationship. It takes two to tango, they say, just like it takes two to make a marriage work. One who found a wife found a good thing. Please go and make your marriage work.
Okay, sir. Thank you, Daddy. Please help me by doing these 3 things. Like, subscribe and share this channel. Thank you very much.